Now, you may have seen one of these four on social media talking about how bad carbohydrates are and how insulin is going to cause you to not be able to lose fat and how spikes in your blood sugar levels is going to cause you to gain weight. But what does the research actually say about this topic? Well, in this video, we're going to be answering that very question. So I suggest you guys stick around as the answer may surprise you. Welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan. I'm an ex-NFL player, online coach, and natural bodybuilder. And this channel is all about finding the most efficient way to help you lose fat and build muscle. Now, you may have heard that when you eat carbohydrates, that your body releases insulin and that inhibits you from losing fat and causes you to gain weight. Now, there is a very slight truth to this, but it is greatly exaggerated. When we eat carbohydrates, the body releases insulin. The main reason for this being is that we're going to remove sugar from the bloodstream to store in the muscle cell or in the fat cell. Completely normal process. It is a great way for us to regulate our blood sugar levels, and it is completely normal. When insulin is high, yes, you're going to see less fat burning, but obviously this makes sense. There's no reason for us to create our own energy by breaking down bodily tissue when we've just eaten energy that's either going to be used or it's going to be stored. So therefore, yes, when insulin is high, you won't see as much fat burning happening. But this is just one mechanism out of hundreds, if not thousands of different mechanisms that come together for us to see fat loss. Now, a great analogy for this and something that I learned from Dr. Lane Norton is think of it like a mutual fund. A mutual fund is hundreds of stocks that are pooled together, and then that mutual fund will either move up or down depending on how the stocks perform within the mutual fund. Now, you're not going to look at the worst mutual fund and say, oh, that stock is 50% down and not buy into that mutual fund, even though the mutual fund is up 30%. This is similar to when people talk about how insulin is going to be blocking fat loss, when we really know that being in a calorie deficit is what actually dictates whether we lose fat or don't lose fat. Insulin is just one mechanism that happens over hundreds of thousands that dictate whether we lose fat or not. Making sure that you're in a calorie deficit doesn't matter whether insulin's high in certain parts of the day or not. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're still going to be able to lose fat. And a perfect example of this is a meta-analysis that was done on 32 different studies that had the same calories and the same protein, but the only difference within the study was that some were in high carb, some were in low carb or high fat, low fat, however you want to look at it. And they compared the two. Out of the 32 different studies that they analyzed, they seen no significant difference when it came to fat loss. If anything, they've seen a slight trend in high carbohydrate groups actually performing better. So this really goes to show that what actually matters is making sure that we're in a calorie deficit. Doesn't matter whether you're eating high fat, high carb, low carb, as long as protein is high and we're in a calorie deficit, we are going to get fat loss results. So in the real world, all that matters is adherence. If you're someone who enjoys a high fat diet, then continue to eat a high fat diet. But if you're someone who enjoys a high carb diet or even a balanced diet, whatever is going to allow you to stay adherent to a calorie deficit, and as long as you're eating high protein, you're going to see the results that you desire. So carbs aren't the enemy. They're not going to cause you to just inherently gain fat no matter what calories you're eating. This is a myth that is being completely debunked. Making sure that we're in a calorie deficit and we're keeping protein high is really all that matters. So final takeaways, as I said, carbohydrates don't make you fat. Overeating calories is what's going to cause this to happen. So we need to do the inverse and make sure that we're in a calorie deficit for us to be able to lose fat. Now within this as well, I would recommend that if you are doing a high carbohydrate diet, then you should be eating high volume foods, things like potatoes, things like fruit, things like vegetables. All of these things are going to help you to stay full for longer and allow you to stay more adherent to the diet. A lot of the times people think that when they're eating a high carbohydrate diet or a high carbohydrate food, they're talking about French fries or cakes. When realistically, when you see the actual macro breakdown of these foods, you're actually getting more calories from fat than what you are from the carbohydrates. So when you cook chips, we're cooking it in oil. We're getting more calories from the oil left over on the chips than what we are actually getting from the carbohydrates that are in the potato. Same thing goes for things like cakes. There's butter, there's cream. a lot of the calories that you're actually consuming from those foods are coming from fat just as much as they are from carbohydrates. So making sure that we understand that if we're eating these certain types of foods that are going to potentially result in us overeating them, we know this. If you have a bowl of veggies and if you have a cake, we know which one that we're going to eat more of. It's simple as that. Making sure that you are using this logical approach and this understanding that most of our food should be coming from this high volume potatoes, fruits, vegetables, and then we can have occasional snack from time to time, no doubt. But making sure majority of that is coming from, as I said, those more whole foods, then you're going to go a lot further to having a more successful fat loss journey. And at the end of the day, the beauty about this is that you can pick what diet works for you. If you like high fat, go high fat. If you like high carb, go high carb. If you like a balanced diet, eat a balanced diet. At the end of the day, calorie deficit, high protein is really all that matters. So within that, making sure that the preference or the diet that you choose suits your lifestyle and allows you to stay adherent over the long term, because staying in a calorie deficit long term is realistically how you're going to get the amazing fat loss results that you desire. Hope this has been informative. I'm going to leave all my free resources linked in the description below. I got the 21-step guide to fat loss. I also have the fat loss checklist. So if this is something that you are interested in, go in, check that out. They're all completely free. There is a ton of value in there. And I guarantee that if you follow all the protocols that are in those free resources, you will get fat loss results. And if you're still unsure of what foods to eat when losing fat, then watch this video here. I go through exactly what it means to eat high volume, low calorie dense foods to allow you to eat more food while still losing fat. So check out that video and I'll see you in the next one. Talk soon.